In 2006, at the Fasig-Tipton sale in Calder, Florida, a 2-year-old colt named the Green Monkey sold for $16 million. He never won a stakes race, not one. 3 years later, a gelding named Mind That Bird was purchased at auction for $9,500. He won the Kentucky Derby. So what does it actually cost to stand in that winner's circle on the first Saturday in May? The answer starts long before any horse sets foot on a racetrack. Every year, roughly 20,000 thoroughbred foals are born in the United States. 20 of them will start in the Kentucky Derby. One will win. The money spent producing the other 19,999 does not come back. One ownership group spent more on a single Derby hopeful than most winners cost from birth to finish line. They never reached Louisville. And yet the wealthiest people in this sport keep writing these checks. The reason has nothing to do with the purse. It begins in the breeding shed. Before a Derby winner takes its first step, someone has already written a check for the right to create it. In 2023, the stallion Into Mischief stood at Spendthrift Farm in Lexington, Kentucky. His fee was $250,000 per mating. His son, Authentic, won the Derby in 2020. The fee reflects that record. But a stud fee buys only a chance. The mare must conceive. She must carry the foal. A bull to term. She must deliver without complication. Board for a broodmare at a top Kentucky farm runs between $50 and $70 a day. Foaling fees, veterinary checks, and neonatal care add thousands more. Not every mating produces a runner. Roughly 60% of mares bred to top stallions produce a live foal that reaches the races. The other 40% represent stud fees paid for horses that will never see a starting gate. By the time a foal stands on wobbly legs in a bluegrass paddock, the investment is already 6 figures deep. The animal has not even been named. The next checkpoint is the auction ring. Every September at the Keeneland Sales Pavilion in Lexington, the most expensive yearlings in the world walk under bright lights. Bid spotters stand on risers calling numbers. A horse that has never run a step gets assigned a value in 60 seconds. Buyers study each yearling as it walks. They watch the angle of the shoulder and the length of the hip. They check whether the hocks are clean and the knees aligned. A yearling with a short back and deep girth commands a premium. One that paddles or toes out gets passed over regardless of pedigree. The inspection lasts minutes. The consequences last years. In 2016, a bay colt by Scat Daddy sold at Keeneland September for $500,000. A group including Windstar Farm and China Horse Club signed the ticket. They named him Justify. 2 years later, he swept the Triple Crown. $500,000 sounds enormous. In that same sale session, yearlings sold for $2 and $3 million and never reached a stakes race. The auction assigns a price to potential. The problem is that potential and talent are not always the same thing. 5:30 on a Tuesday morning at Palm Meadows Training Center in Boynton Beach, Florida. The air is warm and salt-heavy off the coast. Horses move toward the track in sets of 3, hooves barely audible on the loam path. Every stride these animals take is burning someone's money. A top trainer in the United States charges between $100 and $150 per day to keep a horse in training. That covers feed, a stall, and daily supervision. It does not cover the veterinarian. It does not cover the farrier every 6 weeks, the equine dentist, the imaging when something goes wrong. It does not cover shipping to the races at roughly $1 per loaded mile. A single horse in full training at a top stable costs between $60,000 and $90,000 a year. That is, before it earns a cent in purse money. Then come the nomination fees. To enter the Kentucky Derby, a horse must be nominated. The early fee as a yearling is $600. Miss that deadline and the late nomination jumps to $6,000. Miss every window and the supplemental entry on Derby Week is $200,000. That is the price of walking into the starting gate, not winning. Entering. The road to Louisville runs through a series of qualifying prep races from September through April. Connections must choose which races to target and where to ship. A horse based in California chasing the Santa Anita Derby faces different logistics than one stabled at fairgrounds in New Orleans. The entry fees, the travel, the stabling on the road. A Derby campaign beginning in January can cost $100,000 in logistics alone before the horse reaches Churchill Downs. In 2019, a colt named Omaha Beach, trained by Richard Mandela, was the morning line favorite for the Kentucky Derby. His connections had spent months and hundreds of thousands of dollars positioning him for that single afternoon. On the Wednesday before the race, a veterinary scope revealed an entrapped epiglottis. He was scratched, the favorite, gone. 3 days before post time, every dollar invested in that campaign, the training, the travel, the prep races, the nomination, erased in the time it took a veterinarian to look through a scope. This is the fate that meets most of the money poured into Derby dreams. It does not come home. Churchill Downs on the first Saturday in May. The twin spires visible from every corner of the grounds. 150,000 people packed into a facility that strains to hold them. Somewhere behind the grandstand, in a receiving barn that smells of hay and liniment, 20 colts stand in stalls worth more than most houses. This is where the math either justifies itself or it does not. In 2018, Justify stood in that paddock with a campaign that had already cost a fortune. $500,000 at auction, months of training under Bob Baffert at Santa Anita, prep race wins in California, shipping cross-country, jockey fees for Mike Smith. The total cost from yearling purchase through Derby morning was conservatively past $1 million. He won. He won the Preakness. He won the Belmont. He retired undefeated with career purse earnings near $3,800,000. Subtract the costs and the margins are thinner than the public imagines. 2 years earlier, the Dark Bay colt Nyquist won the Derby for owner Paul Redham and trainer Doug O'Neill, purchased for $400,000 at the Fasig-Tipton, Florida sale. His campaign included winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and the Florida Derby. Total investment past $1 million. Career earnings around $3,300,000, a profit. But not the windfall the world assumes from winning the most famous race on earth. In 2000, a colt named Fusaichi Pegasus won the Derby for owner Fusao Sekiguchi. He had been purchased for $4 million. After retirement, he was sold to Coolmore Stud for a reported $60 million. Spend $4 million, win the Derby, sell for $60. That looks like the formula finally working. But Fusaichi Pegasus was a disappointment at stud. His offspring rarely performed at the level his fee demanded. The $60 million investment never fully returned. Even when the numbers appear to work, they carry fine print. And then there is Mine That Bird, the gelding from the opening, $9,500 at a mixed sale. That was his entire price. His trainer was Chip Woolley, a horseman based in New Mexico, not the kind of name that appears on Derby favorite lists. The colt was hauled to Louisville in a 2-horse trailer from Sunland Park. Over 1,000 miles on the highway. No private transport, no Keeneland training base, no 6-figure sire in the first line of his pedigree. On the first Saturday in May in 2009, jockey Calvin Burrell settled Mine That Bird at the back of the field. Dead last through the first turn, last through the backstretch. Then something shifted. Burrell found the rail. The gelding began passing horses as though they were standing in mud. By the top of the stretch, he was fifth. At the eighth pole, he was second. At the wire, he was alone. 6 3/4 lengths clear. The crowd went silent. Then it erupted. Total cost of producing that Derby winner from purchase through post-parade was a fraction of what most owners spend just nominating a horse that never qualifies. Mine. That bird proved the funnel could be beaten on pocket change. But he was a gelding. No stallion career waited for him. No breeding rights to sell. His return would be measured in purse checks and nothing else. This is the pattern the numbers reveal. The expensive winners barely break even on racing revenue alone. The cheap winners are statistical anomalies. The math, viewed as a financial proposition, tells every owner the same thing. Do not do this. The average return on investment for a Kentucky Derby starter is negative, deeply negative, and yet every September the auction paddocks fill again. The real ledger does not close on Derby Day. It opens. A horse that wins the Kentucky Derby becomes something more valuable than a racehorse. He becomes a stallion prospect. And in the thoroughbred breeding industry, stallion value dwarfs anything a horse can earn on the track. When Justify retired, he entered stud at Coolmore's Ashford Stud in Versailles, Kentucky. His initial fee was reported at $150,000. At that price, covering even 100 mares in a season generates $15 million in revenue. In a single year at stud, a Derby winner can earn more than his entire racing career produced. Multiply that across a decade of breeding, and the economics transform completely. The purse was never the point. The breeding shed was. This is what the public rarely sees. The Kentucky Derby is not a sporting event that happens to involve money. It is a commercial audition disguised as a horse race. Every owner sitting in the clubhouse on the first Saturday in May is watching an animal whose value will be defined not by what it does in 2 minutes, but by what its offspring do over the next 20 years. Churchill Downs itself reflects the scale. The race generates hundreds of millions for the city of Louisville each Derby week. Wagering on the Derby alone regularly exceeds $200 million in a single afternoon. The broadcast reaches over 16 million viewers. The brand is worth more than most professional sports franchises. And at the center of it all, one horse crosses the wire first and becomes the most valuable animal in the sport overnight. The costs are rising. Stud fees for top sires have doubled in the past decade. Yearling sale averages at Keeneland September climb higher each year. Training day rates increase. Veterinary costs increase. The supplemental Derby entry fee remains $200,000. The funnel grows more expensive at every stage, and yet the number of people willing to enter it does not shrink. It grows. This is the truth that sits between the Green Monkey's $16 million and mine, that bird's $9,500. The Kentucky Derby is not an investment that occasionally produces a return. It is a wager placed by people who have already done the math and chosen to ignore it. They are not confused about the odds. They know. They have accountants and advisors and spreadsheets that say the same thing every year. The money will probably not come back. They write the check anyway, because somewhere in a field in Kentucky, a foal they paid to create is standing up for the first time, and the question that no spreadsheet can answer is whether that foal will be the one. Next year, the fees will be higher. The sales averages will climb, the training bills will grow, and someone new will sign the ticket, knowing everything you just heard, and do it anyway. That question, why they keep doing it, may be the only one the Kentucky Derby never answers.